Hello and welcome to It's Your Business with Mario Toneguzzi on Megakix Media. Joining me today is Romana King, who is a national real estate and financial expert. Thanks for joining us today, Romana.
It's great to be here.
All right, well, we're talking about a report that was just released by Zolo, looking at financial literacy, and it is Financial Literacy Month. One of the things that I found quite disturbing was the fact that only 54% of Canadians surveyed passed the basic financial literacy test.
Yes.
Is that pretty bad?
Yes, but I don't think we're really surprised. I mean, financial literacy, the idea of having knowledge and then skills and then building confidence about those knowledge and skills and the application of it, I think that's only been on the radar for the last 10 years. So for the last 10 years, planners and government agencies and organizations such as ours have celebrated this to try and help promote the idea of learning about finances, money management.
Yeah.
But just because about half of Canadians would pass a basic financial literacy test, we still have a lot of work to do. We don't have a national financial literacy program. We don't teach it in the schools on a national basis. I know it's a provincial mandate to set the educational curriculum, but we don't have anything. So schools are kind of left on their own. Parents are left on their own. So it's not surprising.
What are the implications, I guess, and the consequences of that low figure? Of if almost half of Canadians are financially illiterate, so to speak?
Well, they're massive. So we find people don't understand how credit card interest is calculated, how mortgage interest is calculated. Now, these are things that we use almost on a daily basis. I mean, maybe not mortgage interest, but we take out a mortgage and we have to pay that mortgage. We use our credit card. If we don't understand how to use that credit card wisely, our credit scores aren't very good. If they're not very good, we don't get very good loan rates. So when we go to do those milestones, buy a car, buy a house, we don't have the best rates. It's a higher cost for borrowing and a higher cost for us to purchase these things. So they have huge ramifications right from the start of post-secondary right up until retirement.
Okay. Another interesting finding was 78% said they would run out of money in 90 days or less if they lost their job. Is that surprising to you, first of all?
Surprising, scary. We all know that we should all have an emergency fund, and not everyone has a bulk of money in a savings account. There are different ways to do that emergency fund. The ideal is to have a bunch of money, put in a savings account, and don't touch it. But if 78% are about to lose their job, and within 3 months they're going to run out of money, that's surprising and a little bit scary.
Yeah, and one of the other figures that I found interesting, that 77% said they were willing to neglect saving for retirement in order to buy a home sooner.
So one of the biggest findings we found from this report, now we're a real estate firm, so we did ask questions to try and understand the motivation for buying homes, particularly since it's been a hot market in Canada.
Yeah.
And we found that while all of us are talking about this, make a smart financial decision when you buy a home, the real motivations that are behind buying homes aren't financial. It's psychological security, psychological stability, and that those financial decisions that give us stability come later. So it's no surprise to us that people are saying, no, home first, retirement second. Is it a smart strategy? Not if you don't have a plan. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay. Now, are you finding because of COVID, you touched on it a little bit, but because of COVID, that more people are spending time and want to spend time at home. So naturally, they're going to gravitate, I guess, to home ownership.
Gravitate towards home ownership, and the types of properties we're seeing that have the most interest, the most activity, are the types of homes that allow you to spend time at your home in a safe environment. So condos are not as interesting anymore because you have to be in a building full of people, take elevators. So now townhomes have sort of burst onto the scene, and there's a lot of interest in townhomes because single family homes are expensive in a lot of the bigger cities. So
yeah, I'm just curious. I don't know if the survey touched on this, but when I see 77% willing to neglect saving for retirement, what I'm wondering too is just looking at retirement. Do you think, especially because of what's happened in the last 6-7 months or so because of COVID, that more and more people are going to be working later in life?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a trend prior to the pandemic hitting, and I think now that the pandemic has hit, it's just exasperated it. It was a trend because interest rates have been so low that people close to retirement and in retirement have struggled. You know, we used to bank on the returns of our investment portfolio, which was in safe, secure, lower return products like bonds. But if interest rates are really low, and I know there's an indirect correlation, I mean, it's an inverse correlation there, but if interest rates are still low and people struggle to get those earnings, they're going to work a little bit longer to try and supplement that income. And now with the pandemic and people unable to save and having to take mortgage deferral or having to take a pay cut, because we found a lot of people had to take pay cuts or lost their job temporarily. Yes, it does derail savings opportunities and it does derail retirement savings.
Okay, super. Thanks for joining us today, Romana.
Thank you for having me, Mario.
Okay, great. That was Romana King, who is a national real estate and financial expert. This has been It's Your Business with Mario Toneguzzi on Megapix Media. Thanks for joining us today.